Hey, so it's been a while. Yeah, my bad. So recently I got done playing Devil May Cry, a 25-year-old game derived from the Resident Evil series. So that might cause some question as to why I'm talking about it now, and to that I say, Nintendo had it on sale. And not gonna lie, I'm glad that I took up on that sale because this is a pretty good game. Fair warning for some very surface level spoilers. And some clips will be my own gameplay, but I'm pretty bad at the game, so it's not like you're missing much if I leave any out. But anyway, since I figured that I love this game so much, I'll yammer about it for a little, so I'll start with the plot. So I'll be honest and say I wasn't keeping up with the plot that much while I was playing the game, so I had to resort to some third-party sources, and by that I mean Wikipedia. So I'll give a brief rundown on the plot. It follows Dante, half human, half demon, and he's led to a castle by Trish, who nobody really knows anything about, so he can kill a demon lord named Mundus, who killed his father and his brother. It's a pretty simple revenge story, but it's really fun. And the notorious ending scene will always be funny to me, because Capcom had to make the active choice to leave that voice crack in there, and I know I do that a lot in my videos, but that's a game studio we're talking about. Anyways, I kind of want to move on to my favorite part of the game, so the gameplay is probably my favorite out of any game that I've ever played. A lot of people say that the game is super difficult, but I'd say that's just the right difficulty. Now, once you unlock hard mode, that's where stuff starts to get really difficult, but I guess that's kind of the point. But even at that, it's not like 2004 Ninja Gaiden difficult. By the way, the developers for Devil May Cry 4 and the developers for Ninja Gaiden used to have a ton of beef. Isn't that kind of funny? It was about whether or not Ninja Gaiden Dragon Sword on the DS counted as an action-adventure game, which was actually a game that I grew up with. And I can confidently say, I don't know what the Devil May Cry developers were talking about. That was a pretty good game. But anyways, I like how combo-oriented the gameplay is. It's at just the right pace, I'd say. But yeah, I like the gameplay. Now for the things that I didn't really like. Now there was a critic somewhere that suspected that Devil May Cry's difficulty was to prolong the game. I can't help but kind of agree. The game is short in and of itself. Like, you could complete this game in a day, but there are roadblocks that you won't be familiar with. And I really think that those are only there to compensate for the fact that the plot just isn't all that. Like, yeah, I like the plot and whatnot, but you're not getting a full game out of that. Another really small nitpick that I have is when you're underwater, why do you have to be in first person? You're also fighting each boss more than once, which kind of feels redundant. And this is a me problem, but the storage on the Switch is actually kind of insane. Well, for some final thoughts, Devil May Cry is a pretty cool game. I think you should play it. At some point in the future, I do plan on playing each of the games later on, but for now, I'll stick with the first one because it's kind of fire. Anyways, general thesis. Devil May Cry 1 has some of my favorite combat ever. Subscribe so I can eat something and bye.